February 21st, 2022. Halfcast 245, episode 245. Let's go. Of course, I have a few things to share with you guys. An evening of reflection. Shall we? Man arrested for shooting teen dead in car had never fired gun before, he told police. Not an excuse. If I'm a judge, I'm still holding you 100% accountable for your actions. Even more so, be it that you never fired a gun before, you should be even more cautious before you pick one up. The man who shot a teen as she sat in the back seat of a car told Milwaukee police he was aiming for the tire and he had never fired a gun before that fatal day. Police arrested Marcellus Duckworth, 23, which means you're old enough. If you don't know anything else, you're old enough to know that a gun is not a fucking toy, with first degree reckless homicide and use of a dangerous weapon after he shot 15-year-old Gabrielle Landry. It was the day before Valentine's Day, and Gabrielle was a passenger in a car driven by a woman named TD, who was arguing with Duckworth, according to a criminal complaint obtained by WJDT TV. Gabrielle and TD were cousins, TD told police. Gabrielle attended North Division High School in Milwaukee and was planning to become a nurse, according to WITI TV. She was very overprotective of her family, of all of us. Her sister, Triana Johnson, told WITI she loved everybody. Detectives interviewed a 22-year-old woman who said she was in a relationship with Duckworth and had received a message from TD while at his house saying she'd had sex with them. Oh, Lord. The woman then called Duckworth to say she was coming over to fight, police said. So we can already assume he's in the business of making terrible decisions. Duckworth grabbed a gun and went outside, the complaint said. Okay, so if these two were supposedly going to fight, maybe they fight, maybe they just curse each other out. We don't know. But what do you need a gun for? Meanwhile, TD and the girls allegedly vandalized a black sedan parked outside Duckworth's home, thinking it belonged to his 22-year-old girlfriend. After a lot of back and forth, TD started driving away. They didn't even fight. And it was then that Duckworth fired, striking Gabrielle. Family members of Gabrielle told WITI that they had known Duckworth for a long time. Okay, so they pulled up, nobody fought, they caused their ruckus and got it out of their system. And on the way of leaving, now you want to fire a shot. For what? This is sad for the girl and her family. I really wish you rot. Johnson, in reference to Duckworth, according to WITI, I wish you rot and I hope it haunts you. Fentanyl, THC, found in vaping device at Eldridge, Iowa High School. I'm old, so the bad boy thing in high school for us would be to smoke cigarettes or black and miles. These kids here, they're smoking a whole loud pack and walking right in the homeroom. Present. North Scott Superintendent Joe Studding confirms a vaping device with THC and fentanyl was found at North Scott High School on Thursday. In a statement sent out to parents, the school says vape devices across the country are being laced with fentanyl, and local authorities have reported an increase of laced devices in the Quad Cities area. There have been stories of children ODing from this in the past, in the not so long ago past. So we should just be happy that this isn't one of those type of stories tonight. Studding says a field test of the liquid inside the vaping device shows THC, the active ingredient in cannabis, and fentanyl were discovered. A lab is confirming the results. The school says they're seeing more vaping within their schools and want to make families aware of the potential fatal ingredient that's recently been found in the device. The drug fentanyl, which is typically laced with other narcotics, can be fatal depending on the amount ingested. The main symptom associated with fentanyl overdose is respiratory failure and non responsiveness, write administrators in the statement. Parents are encouraged to talk to their children, and studying says they're continuing to educate students on the dangers of vaping. If you're in the ongoing battle to try and get your kid to stop vaping, in the meantime, let them know to don't share any cartridges, don't share any vape pens with anybody. Your own vape pen and your own cartridge is your cartridge. If they're in school, their buddies might come around with a vape pen or a cartridge, and they might not even know that it's laced with fentanyl. Florida girl jailed after classmate posing as her threatened school. What the hell are we sending these kids to school for? To get high and play around on the fold all day? That's reserved for adults. You got to work your way up to that. A 13-year-old Florida girl spent more than a week in a juvenile detention facility after a classmate pretended to be the bullied teen on Instagram and threatened their school. A new lawsuit says Nia Wims' family has sued the Renaissance Charter School at Pines near Miami over the episode that resulted in her being detained for 11 days. The suit also names Instagram, and its parent company Meta claims that the seventh grader had been bullied in August and requested a meeting with school officials. But after a meeting never happened, her mother, Leslie Ann Davis, finally decided to pull Nia out of school in Pembroke Pines because the bullying continued, according to the outlet. So, with all that's going on with school shootings and bomb threats and all of this stuff, as a faculty member, how do you not make time to sit down with all parties involved and discuss what's going on between these children if there's a bullying thing going on? If a child is being bullied, the child is already being alienated. But if he or she still finds the courage to come to an adult through all this and tell you that they're having a problem with being pushed around in school, it's an adult or any staff members, I don't care if it's a janitor, it's their responsibility to come and bring it to the attention of all parties involved. We see what happens when you don't peep the signs. The ex classmate, identified as MS, sent the threats to herself and a teacher who reported the matter to school officials and law enforcement, leading the facility to be placed in limited lockdown. MS allegedly implicated Nia, who was reportedly arrested on November 19th, despite denying sending any threats. So you wouldn't listen to her when she came to you about the bullying, and you're not listening to her now. You just failed this girl twice. She was sent to a juvenile detention center on a felony charge of making a written threat to do bodily harm or commit an act of terrorism and forced to undergo a psychological evaluation, according to the lawsuit. She spent 11 days in detention before being released on November 29th when the investigators determined that MS had sent the threatening missives. What makes this looks bad is that most likely half the students in the class knew that that girl didn't send those text messages. We don't even know what type of damage you may have done to this young lady from her being institutionalized, incorrectly institutionalized. A judge who dropped the charges told the teen, "Do you have any questions for me? Good luck. I'm really sorry you went through this." Fuck you. It's okay, Nia replied, but her mom said the family wants to hold those responsible accountable. They need to make sure they do their homework prior to putting our children in handcuffs and locking them up, said the family's attorney, Marwan Porter. Police said the family did not cooperate with the probe until December, when Davis provided information that led them to subpoena an IP address connected to the messages, NBC News reported. Now somebody's trying to cover their own ass. But the family said they gave investigators the iPad that Nia had used to talk to MS the day she was arrested. The other girl has been charged with several crimes, including written threats to kill or do bodily harm and falsifying a police report. NBC News reported Renaissance Charter School told the network in a statement, "Our highest priority remains the safety and security of our students. But as long as it doesn't get in the way of me keeping my own fucking job." Meta, The parent company for Instagram allegedly failed to promptly provide or cooperate with the investigating officers, which led to a delay in clearing Nia, the lawsuit states. Cut the check. Cut the goddamn check. It was heartbreaking that everybody thought it was me, Nia told WPLG. Mother of Chicago train robbery suspect drags him to police station. One of the most irresponsible and disrespectful things you could do is bring that type of heat to your mother's doorstep. A Chicago student who allegedly robbed a train conductor at gunpoint was turned in to the police by his mother, who had recognized him in news coverage of the robbery. What the hell are these kids going to school for? Let's recap. They're going to school to get high. They're going to school to learn how to hack Instagram accounts. And apparently, they're going to school to learn how to rob train conductors. The necessary course requirements for a prison sentence. Zion Brown, 18, was charged with armed robbery for holding a train conductor at gunpoint and stealing about $100 in cash on Tuesday. That's all. Brown was arrested later that night after his mother recognized photos of the masked suspect caught on surveillance slipping away after the robbery and drove him to the Calumet City Police Department to surrender, prosecutors said, according to CWB Chicago. That's mom's all right, mask and all. She knew it was him. The details of Brown's arrest were revealed during his bond hearing, where his private defense attorney argued he was hungry and looking for something to eat. Like, I don't feed you at home? Brown, a second year student at Loyola University, Chicago, he's in college, reportedly went to class after pulling out a gun and pointing it at the train conductor's stomach. His defense attorney asked Judge Mariam Ahmad to remember her days as a hungry college student when setting Brown's bail, a request she did not take to heart. Like, out of here. As long as you're doing the right thing, somebody's going to give you a sandwich, some lunch money, or something. You don't need to put a gun in nobody. While Ahmad said she remembered being a hungry college student, she said she never considered pulling a gun on someone and taking their money. The 18-year-old was denied bail. Police for Metra, the commuter rail system in the Chicago metropolitan area, said the brazen robbery took place shortly after 2 p.m. as a train was arriving at the Van Buren Street station in downtown Chicago. As the train pulled into the station, Brown reportedly pulled out the gun and demanded cash. Surveillance pictures show the conductor standing on a platform with his hands raised above his head while the gunman runs away. During a police interview, Brown said the weapon he displayed was actually a BB gun, which he claimed to have thrown away in a dumpster afterward. Fun show, fun show, fun show. That being said, I'm going to wrap this one up, but I'll be sure to talk to you guys very, very soon. Adios.